G'day and welcome back to another Wimbledon channel video. My name's Scott Wimble and this is my channel. This is a video for new teachers out there, and maybe some experienced teachers might find some of these tips helpful as well. Well, it's the school holidays, and so where do I find myself? Back at work. Finishing off a couple of things that weren't done during the term, and I've had a pretty productive day here. And I was thinking about how many teachers out there right now are working hard or thinking about how much stuff they've got to do in the holidays. One of the things that we hear about in the media all the time is about teacher burnout. And I thought I might come up with a couple of things that might help newer teachers think about this topic to alleviate this. So, my Wimbledon channel, top 3 tips for alleviating teacher burnout. Number 1, don't be an island. A lot of teaching is you thinking through what you're going to do with your class and then executing that in your classroom. And the onus is on the teacher. We are professionals, we're in charge of what occurs there. But often that translates to teachers thinking they are alone in this endeavour, and that's not the case. There are so many teachers out there in your staff room, online, Facebook groups, so many teachers out there that are very willing to help you out. So please don't think every other teacher has it together and I'm struggling here, I don't know what to do. Please talk to your colleagues. You don't know if perhaps you've misinterpreted some expectations of the school you're at, and there are certain things that you're doing that you don't need to do, or that you're doing things to a level that aren't required. It's so helpful for you to open up and to discuss with your colleagues what's happening there. If you're struggling, because many teachers out there would love to share ideas, resources, and help you out in any way possible. That's number 1. Number 2, don't reinvent the wheel. We are all teaching similar things, and so many teachers, in my experience, are very generous in sharing resources. So don't sit there thinking, I need to invent and I need to create every single resource that's used in my classroom. Because often, jumping online, jumping on Facebook groups for your subject or on Twitter and asking colleagues and saying, this is what we're doing, have you got any resources that I could have a look at? Even if you have to modify them a little bit, often it takes so much less time for you to use a resource that's been created already than for you to create something. The last thing we want are thousands of teachers throughout Australia all working on very similar things. That's a waste of our time, surely. So that's number 2, don't reinvent the wheel. And finally, perfection is the enemy of progress. Or Voltaire said, best is the enemy of good. In other words, what you're doing in the classroom is messy. Learning is messy. And if you spend all this time creating the absolute perfect resource, I'm sure many experienced teachers can give you those examples where they came up with this lesson plan they thought was perfect. They put all this time into it, the students will do this, this and this, and then it just falls over. And other times you come in unprepared, let's do this and this and this, and it's brilliant. Don't sit there thinking this has to be perfect, this has to be perfect, or I have to do this, this and this. Because very often a resource that you might think is going to be used for the next 15 years isn't actually any good at all. And other times you have a go at something and you think that's great, and you put it there and you can use that time and time again. I'm going to add a bonus in here right now that's just come off the top of my head. And I think it's a very good example of what needs to be done in order to fight teacher burnout. And that is concentrate on what's going to make an impact in the classroom. Really sit down, be intentional and think through. Now, what am I doing? How much time am I putting into lesson prep, into assessment, into feedback, into planning and creating resources? Where is that time going, and are the things I'm putting the time into actually having the most impact on the students? Because surely it makes sense as a teacher for you to think about what's making the most impact for your students, what's improving their learning the best, and to put time into that. So this has been another Wimbledon channel video. Hopefully it's helpful for those newer teachers to get your workloads under control and to think about and be intentional about how you're using your time for your benefit, to benefit your family, your friends, and your work-life balance. Catch you next time.